Would a submarine work as a spaceship? Imagine waking up inside a steel cylinder, deep underwater. The lights are dim, the air smells faintly metallic. Every sound echoes, a soft beep from a console, a distant creak of pressure on the hull. Outside the thick walls, total blackness, crushing pressure, and a world that would kill you in seconds if you dared to open the hatch. Now, imagine waking up in space. The setting is eerily similar. The lights are still dim. The same steel hull separates you from death. The outside? Still black, still silent, still utterly hostile. In fact, if you squint, strip away the labels and equipment, a submarine and a spaceship don't look all that different. But could one become the other? Let's start with the basics. A submarine is designed to keep pressure out, to protect the crew from the crushing force of water pressing in from all sides. A spaceship, on the other hand, has to do the opposite. It has to keep pressure in. Space is a vacuum, and your body wants to violently decompress if exposed to it. So, at first glance, they both solve a similar problem, maintaining a livable bubble in a deadly environment. Inside, submarines already carry systems for air recycling, water purification, temperature control, and waste management. They can spend months underwater without surfacing. Spacecraft need all these systems too. In fact, the early designers of space capsules borrowed heavily from submarine tech. The Apollo life support systems? Submarine-inspired. The sealed hull? Similar concept. Even the crew routines, tight quarters, isolation, and psychological strain are familiar to both submariners and astronauts. So, could you just strap rockets to a submarine and fly it into orbit? Not quite. First, there's the small matter of gravity, or rather, the lack of it. Submarines are designed for an environment where gravity always pulls down and where there's a fluid medium, water, to help dissipate heat. In space, there's no such luxury. Every system must be designed to work in microgravity. Fluids float, crumbs drift, and heat just lingers. In a submarine, heat can be exchanged with the surrounding seawater. In space, there's nothing to conduct heat away, so you need radiators, lots of them. Otherwise, your electronics and you will overheat. Then there's propulsion. Submarines use propellers to push against water. Spaceships need reaction engines, thrusters that work by pushing mass in the opposite direction. The laws of Newton still apply, but the environment changes the rules of the game. You can't just spin a propeller in space, it has nothing to push against. And let's not forget launch. Submarines are heavy, thick steel hulls, water ballast systems, reinforced everything. Getting that much mass into orbit would require an absurd amount of rocket power. A modern attack submarine weighs over 7,000 tons. By comparison, the International Space Station, built piece by piece, has a mass of just 420 tons. You'd need a rocket bigger than anything humanity has ever built. But what if we sidestep launch entirely? What if we build a submarine in space? Now things get more interesting. A space submarine, a spacecraft designed like a deep-sea vessel, might be well suited to long-term missions. Its robust hull could protect against micrometeorite impacts or even cosmic radiation, especially if augmented with water jackets or regolith shielding. Its internal systems, already made to function in isolation, could be adapted for space travel. In fact, some speculative designs for Mars or deep space missions borrow heavily from submarine principles. Modular compartments, closed-loop life support, redundant controls. Some even propose underwater training for future space crews, because living beneath the sea is psychologically and physically similar to living in space. There's another reason submarines and spaceships feel similar. They're both symbols of human fragility wrapped in technological defiance. There are tiny shelters against infinite death, one against the crushing depths, the other against the frozen void. When you climb inside either, you're placing all your faith in engineering, in oxygen scrubbers, in battery levels, in weld seams. You're trusting humanity's ability to build a shell strong enough to keep nature out. So, would a submarine work as a spaceship? With major modifications, yes, in theory. The underlying philosophy is sound: build a self-sufficient, sealed environment that protects its crew from a hostile world. The devil, as always, is in the details. You'd need to redesign almost everything: engines, cooling systems, controls, mass distribution. But conceptually, the two machines are siblings. One dives into the blackness below, the other into the blackness above. Maybe one day, as we build interstellar arcs to cross the cosmic ocean, We'll look back at submarines not as relics of Earth's oceans, but as prototypes for our first true ships of the stars.